Well, well, we're getting into it. To be honest, we're getting started very, very shortly, in fact, as the playing path is already underway. We'll be heading into Sandhawk right now for the first game of PMGC 2024.
Live from London, we have 18 matches stretching out ahead of us over the next 3 days. And it all starts now. A north side plane path, a little bit mean to the teams wanting to get down towards the south side here, Blank. So, could be a little bit of a traffic jam.
We do have some legendary squads here with us at this PMGC. It's an incredible lineup, probably the best lineup we've had in some years, John, in terms of the talent here with us, with a newly fresh format coming through this year, which meant that only the best of the best joined us here in London. It's going to be a slobber knocker and a half, and I hope it goes all the way to a 1 to 2 point differential right in that end game. But at the moment, we do have teams dropping on top of each other a little bit. It's getting slightly claustrophobic over towards Confluence Compound, which Team Spirit did pick up, which is a change of pace. Falcons picking up Boot Camp and Team Spirit moving off that position is a big, big deal.
Yeah, moving off to that really important crossing point that controls so much of the dynamic of the game. If you move out to the west side of the map, is really, really interesting. We'll see how that unfolds. Incilio as well. They're on a split drop right now with at least 2 of their players down on the south side split between that Team Spirit location. I think that's a mistake. I think that that's not going to go well for them. Maybe mistake's a little bit of a strong word, but either way, I think that's going to prove to be very, very tricky for them to navigate.
It's a hard spot to play, honestly, and there are a few compounds there that you don't really want to be playing in that early game in terms of the presence that you might have towards that position. I mean, you have Painan already picked up by 4MV, though 4MV can always just fall over and die, and we'll see if that happens and just provide space for Incilio. But for Incilio, it is a little bit of a split drop right now, and especially the fact that they have players over towards that northwest island too. It's rough. We have seen this type of maneuver before, and it hasn't worked out in the past. I think it's less likely to work now, more so than ever, because we have moved toward more of this meta on Sandhawk, where you do have teams lining that coast on the western side. So for Incilio, this will be a tough push. I don't expect Falcons to allow this to happen. I don't expect Team Spirit to either.
See if they can keep each other at arm's reach at the moment. There is a little bit of a scrap down the south side. Both teams in purple, so a little bit difficult to distinguish one from the other, but it's the Vicious and Enigma Galaxy. So the hot drop we may have thought has come to pass. And Redox lighting up the corridor. That is how you make it happen. The Vicious losing 2. I think these flushes are going to come on in. And Redox holds his own in a 1v2.
Dox is their location and immediately gets the 2 pickups. Fantastic stuff there for Enigma Galaxy to start things out. And for the Vicious, this is one of our rising star teams. It's the team that I don't think a lot of us put a huge amount of stock in over towards the start of those group stages, but we were quickly proven wrong for that fact. But fantastic start here for Enigma Galaxy down towards Sami, which is incredibly important for this team. Specifically for the fact that for the past 4 years or so, Enigma Galaxy has picked up Sami every single time in an international tournament. The fact that Vicious is challenging them here maybe feels like a mistake, though. This is a very different team on Enigma Galaxy, but Ralph has remained the same throughout. So he knows this place like the back of his hand. As the IGL, he's calling the shots.
And it was Redox who rocks him in the internals, in the guts of Sami down south side. As Diminor trying to hold the staircase here. 2 players. Brozen, he was caught on the outside of Sami. And will not really have too much to say about this. I think Diminor is just going to have to face this one alone. You can see Brozen all the way in the back. Probably just looking to give this one up. Allow Diminor to maybe find a point or 2, which would be a little bit of a recuperation there. But either way, the Vicious is going to have a tough time moving on in. Up the staircase. Enigma Galaxy. Do you manage to spot him out? The DBS is good for 1. Falls back. Narvalo is down. Brozen actually establishing a high ground crossfire there, so if they step up towards that window, there is potential to get shut down. The Molotov slows things down, forces them to step on the outside and into the fight. Tries to drop down on him. It's not going to go well because Snoix is there to pick up the pieces. Brozen now the last to stand for the Vicious, and it could be a clean squad wipe for Enigma Galaxy, but unfortunately, looks like they might have just taken the flush there.
Yeah, Narvalo actually went down to the Molotov. It's a great molly to throw as well, spreading on the wooden floors there, takes them both out. And I think that it's a disjointed push, right? That nade should have come through a lot earlier. Narvala was essentially trying to pin Diminor in position. Brunozin comes through, gets a nade to the face, but quickly behind the wall there. And there is a resurgence from Enigma Galaxy. They will pick up all 4, though it's a dangerous one. Losing 1 player might actually give the Vicious that idea of going here once again tomorrow, though more likely than not, they'll find somewhere else to go. For Enigma Galaxy, though, 4 points at the start of the day. Fantastic stuff for them.
It's a good kickoff. I mean, you're looking for the top spot on this one, Blank, right? And we've said throughout these tournaments that have been preceding the PMGC, we're always talking about averages. We're talking about the bubble. We're talking about 3rd places. We're talking about 8th places, that sort of area. But now it's eyes on the gold, right? It's eyes towards the top of the table. So you're looking to push past a 10-point average at the least to be able to get towards that competition. And to start off with 4 is excellent news. The question is, how much further can they go? How much more can they push into that bubble?
For Enigma Galaxy at this point in time, you know, a couple of placement points would be fairly good for them. Though, looking at the circle, this is an interesting one. Heads over towards our eastern side. And it's interesting for the pure fact that throughout the entirety of PMGC groups, if you were with us there, watching at home or wherever, we did get plenty of northwest and southwest circles. So this is taking teams to maybe a location on the map that they're not so comfortable playing before. For Team Spirit and Falcons, they could not be happier. The fact that so many teams surrounded them in boot camp and Confluence Compound in the past has been disastrous for them, trying to get over towards the western side of the map. This time around, they have a lot more space to move in, which is going to be really nice for them, and it'll be a breath of fresh air.
Giving them some open ground to play in front of. What a treat. What a delight for them. D+ Kia, they're on the southeast side as we're on board with their view right now. Southeast have TJB to their south, A7 to their northeast as well by Lakawi. A difficult area ahead of them, right? That east side of Quarry, rather, they're going to have to move in a little bit west, and TJB have actually just moved in front of them. This is going to make D+ Kia's approach to it pretty tricky, pretty treacherous. But if they're looking to play that edge sweep style, that may play into their ball court.
That's an incredible cut-in, actually, from TJB. The fact they get past so many teams there, they were likely going to have to fight one, but getting ahead of the issue now in front of Na'Vi as they attempt to push up towards the location. Tongjiabao will need to hold their ground here because this is an awesome push from them. They don't take the initial knock. Fair bit of damage done, but no player down just yet. And with a building to play around from, Na'Vi's position just got a whole lot more dastardly.
Really tricky stuff, and the east side not really an option for them. It may be a question of just sending it on in and trying for the fight. It looks like they want to move Flip up to the high ground. A nice opener, and that's DRX from the northwest side of TJB's position, taking down Flower. And that is a big opener, an opportunity for Na'Vi now to move into this high ground, stay covered off from DRX's position and crash down into the compound. TJB are still a little bit split. They no longer have that high ground off angle, which means the crash so much more viable for Na'Vi.
For Tongjiabao, there has been aggressive pushes in the past for this team, and the difficulty with those pushes, especially around Quarry, is this does funnel a lot of teams over towards our eastern side. So for TGB to move that far ahead, they had little to no information on this area. They did not know where DRX was playing, and Kaikse just pulls off a nice little off angle from the front line and will find himself an elim, which actually makes life very easy for DRX going into the future here. Now they have that base of operation, they know there's a weakened team there. TJB will hold out Na'Vi, and all DRX has to do is just sit on this north side of Quarry now. So it's a very good position to play out from for the South Korean squad.
As we hop on over to the northwest side of the circle, this is Voindonkey ID, one of our favorite, most improved teams over the course of this year. A fantastic entry into this PMGC. We're excited to see what they've got in store for us. They were moving out on that northwest side, holding Thunder Talks towards the edge of that bridge on the northwest side. And actually now Thunder Talks have had to go all the way up towards Cow. They've been diverted around that roadblock. A nice route of access for Voindonkey ID from that northwest side to move in past Paradise Resort towards Team Spirit, though, which is always a dangerous prospect. We've hopped over towards 4MV now, which is on the west side of Quarry.
Again, we talked about 4MV right at the start of the show. There's a team that made it in very last minute to PMGC, and they have a lot of fans, right? They are a very, very good team, but they really did mess it up over in the group stages. There's a lot of chances for 4MV to go much further, but either over-aggression or way too passive. There was never that middle ground for the team, and already they lose a player off the back. Falcons, though, top will pick up Kaixei from DRX, which is a great pickoff considering how central Falcons are at the moment. Now they have control over towards the south side. It's an interesting domino effect that we're seeing on this north side of the circle, as Quarry does always cause a lot of problems, cutting out a lot of area down towards the south side of the map.
Yeah, it's chopping out about a fifth, I'd say, of the circle right now in terms of playable ground, which is always mean, and linearizes the approaches from that south side. So we'll see how these best teams in the world, so-called, see if they can navigate it. I'm sure they'll put their best foot forwards. But Falcons, they've already done it. They're already slap bang in the middle of this one blank. They will be point for that hold towards the south side. And we'll see if they can hold their nerve, because as the desk was saying, will we get that last chance Falcon team, or are we going to see them take a little bit more of a tumble? I mean, their performance in the survival stages, they came 11th on the tables there. Their group stages, they did manage to gain a little bit of traction towards the end, but they still came 5th in their group, and then put on a momentous performance, almost breaching the century on the day on that last chance stage.
Well, depends on the meals they're having, apparently, because what happened, as I'm led to believe, is that pre the 90-point day for Falcons, they were taken out for a very nice meal. And that's what they say allowed them to do so well. It was a very good meal. It must have been an awesome meal. I'm kind of jealous that I wasn't able to take part, honestly, because maybe my all of my life's problems would be solved after that meal.
Hitting them with the Gordon Ramsay beef Wellingtons on side, you know?
Potentially. So for Falcons, we'll see what's in the tummy today, and if it will give them the strength to keep on going forward here. But already a nice position for them. We're Guild up towards their northeast side. Team Spirit currently facing off against Void Donkey. On our screens at the moment, it is Falcons versus Tong Jiabao as they attempt to move up. Apex is down for 4MV as they come in through from that western side. So already not a great start for this squad.
Tong Jiabao able to keep all 4 of their players alive on some tricky maneuvers. Impressive stuff coming through. There's Incilio as well on that south side, stopping 4MV in their tracks. 1 player down, but Redlick is traded off, and that's DRX, who'd be dastardly from that north point of the quarry, having so much influence over the surrounding fights, over towards TJB and Na'Vi, now over towards 4MV and Incilio. The question is, how can they move out of this location for DRX? Because they will, if they stop here, be playing on the edge of this next circle.
Yeah, coming into stage 3 now, this circle's starting to tick down like a powder keg at this point in time, ready to explode at any moment. Down towards the south side, now these teams have maneuvered their way around Quarry. They're all going to start to meet at the apex of that point on the north side of Quarry, which is why all these fights are starting to take place. With RCB moving in over towards D plus Kia, Oshal already down, usually one of the most fearsome players on that squad. Getting him out the way early is great news for RCB.
Still a couple of players left in the pocket, though. 3 of them still alive, and RCB need to move too. Not too long to play around this fight. They have that high ground ridge line. Means that the approach from that north side looking tricky, but Thunder Talker here to help. Goodness me, RCB lit up on that off angle there from the north side. Thunder Talker looking to push past this as well. You can see they've moved into the compound, but RCB are taking shots back. Over towards White. He will fall down. Behind the rock there is potentially Resable, but the zone is going to close, and it will push them off of this angle. Stage 3 means that the zone is still Resable blank. They have a little bit more time to play with, but as soon as stage 4 hits, it is not going to be possible. Thunder Talk looking to pick up and get out of there.
Yeah, I mean, for Thunder Talks, that wrap was tighter than a burrito at Chipotle. Honestly, the fact they're able to move in on that eastern side, very surprising, to be quite frank with you. Influence Rage, though, are on that northern side, and potentially might want to get involved. Massive shift down towards the south side. Enigma Galaxy make their way in underneath 4MV, and once again, Falcons looking good here. But it is RCB on your screens. Loxy, the clutch maestro himself, but he goes down.
Traded off, and it is D plus Kia to fall in the fight. RCB on their last legs, but it is the super sub Sarah to keep them alive on this one. Blank, they will be all right. I think I heard go, go, go called from the stage there. Push, 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 and it's worked out for them this time. 3 players alive, 3 limbs on the board. On the east side, though, they've got a long way to get into this circle.
Sarah attack, but Sarah also protect in this situation. Fantastic stuff for RCB, keeping their teammates back and alive. A very critical moment as well for RCB, where they're currently playing, which is very, very good news for them. Na'Vi and DRX still with a standoff down towards the southeast, glaring at one another from across the way. We do have Enigma Galaxy on our screen. They have one player down at the moment in Redox. Ralph still up alongside with Snowix, likely looking for the res now. In the meantime, Incilio stuck on the edge of this valley.
Snowix spotted there, taken down, meaning Ralph is the only player now standing for Enigma Galaxy. Redox is flushed away. That's picked up. And DRX now trying to hold off against Na'Vi. Hyunbin on the inside has Lemon on the rooftops, but will not have the angles to take care of him just yet. The backlines of DRX going to be looking out this way. Across the road, the rest of Na'Vi have settled. And now Puncher is moving up into the building. Hyunbin still there, still quiet. There's a little bit of damage put towards Soez, but not going to find the knock.
Hyunbin, really the key player in this scenario, stopping Na'Vi from getting too far forward. This will be a question if Na'Vi gets too aggressive, forgets to be cautious on this push-up, but they both head over towards the roof side, not allowing Hyunbin any real impact into this fight. In the meantime, it is Influence Rage attempting to get through, Guild alongside them. This is a hell of a packed fight over on the northeast.
Oh, Influence Rage in the blue zone, and Guild are just giving the ground towards the zone. But Influence Rage are ticking down really, really hard now, and Guild are working this one from the northeast side. How much more ground do they have left to give, though, Blank? At some point, they're going to be exposed to the compounds on the southwest. The question is, how many points can they extract from this situation? Law and Diego still alive for Influence Rage and can still make something happen with an opening on this northeast side.
Bandages are all that's left here for Influence Rage. Seriously in triage mode at this point in time. And Guild, like you say, just backstepping and backstepping, trying to get away from this one. Thunder Talks, though, coming from behind. How the hell have they got here? Still alive in this picture, but we'll have to move through over towards Guild, who are fairly weakened. There is a chance here for Xing as well as AJ. Team Spirit over on that northwest edge, though. Fantastic place to play. Them and Falcons, with all the room in the world at the start of this game, might just be able to get themselves a big match on the card. Already finding Zeta from Void Donkey.
On board with the fight between DRX as Hyunbin finally stepped out, made his presence known, and Na'Vi, they have lost a player for it. 2 points found for DRX. That was over on a third-party engagement to find one of those, and the rest of Na'Vi split. Puncher, he's close by, and it seems to be a little bit dangerous. Na'Vi just going to give up on Puncher, see what he can do as a solo, maybe find 1 point out of this one, but they're going to move the rest of their team up and ahead, try and get a position into this next circle. Hyunbin taking position, and Alpha 7 are getting ahead of this. Puncher is single-handedly keeping DRX locked down in this compound, and whilst Na'Vi may not be able to find too much on this match, he is doing a lot to stop DRX moving too far forwards as well.
Shuts the door right in his face as well. We'll go for the double spray on the side. We'll find at least one, but that delays DRX long enough for potentially a little bit more movement from Na'Vi heading over towards the western edge, but there is damage coming through thick and fast. Alpha 7 makes a great play to move in this position, but a stroke of incredibly bad luck. They lose 2 players on the approach there. I think that's from Tong Jiabao taking shots alongside.
And you've got 4MV on the west side of them as well, who could potentially make this even harder. DRX now pushing it from the south side, putting McGrell into the test as 3-player Stan. Revo wants to get back to his feet, desperately calling for that res, and it comes through. Mafioso puts him back up and into the action. Hyunbin trying to make that approach, and Mafioso is holding down the line from the high ground. McGrell as well. And that is Alpha 7 moving into the middle here and keeping themselves alive, but a knock sent over their way. You can see how exposed this South Hill is for them.
It's so tough. And again, we move down towards that south side. And Incilio, despite this awkward split they had earlier in the game, they were able to get at least 2 players into this one. Now you have this case where you have that ridge side that sits down towards the south. Incilio's not in the greatest of positions, but no one's looking at them right now. All the action is occurring over on this north side of the circle. Tong Jiabao make their initial move. They get 676 up towards that building alongside with Flower and Longs. And now Falcons are in trouble.
TJB looking to try and cross the road here against Falcons in this standoff they've been in for so long. TJB slip around the side with the cliff to their asset, it may be difficult to move with Alpha 7 looking. Meanwhile, over on the north side, Team Spirit and Voindonkey ID have been scrapping out for a while, Blank. They are going to have to fully move off this position, fully commit to that rotate. With Voindonkey ID losing a player earlier to Team Spirit have the numbers advantage. Moving on in towards this circle, there's not too many opportunities. You imagine that they're going to have to figure out who they want to push on towards. Na'Vi's only a duo, so maybe that is the option, but we'll have to conclude this fight first.
Good couple of initial grenades to attempt to stop Potato running out from that position. Both teams running parallel at the moment into the circle. Like you say, Na'Vi not likely to get too far into this one. Big nade on the back line there. Will do a lot of damage through to Kitsune, but there is a rebuttal coming through from him. But Kitsune's now down. It starts to get a lot of pressure on the side of Team Spirit. They still have man advantage on this situation. They will crawl in alongside with the team. But Matic has to go big in the front line.
Oh, he's spotted and he's knocked as well. Two from Team Spirit down. Flush, knock to the back line, and all of Team Spirit fall. Voindonkey ID leave Vexy alive, but there are encroaching forces from 4MV on that western side. And Falcons as well, looking to turn their attention out this way. Voindonkey ID with the back to the blue, stay alive.
Wonderful nade coming through over the top there that hits Kitsune at the worst moment. Unfortunately for Tong Jibao, they were not able to crest over that cliff, and Falcons lives to see another day. Now look to take down the weakened Voindonkey off towards their northwest side. Good Molotovs, good nades, and Cilio starts to suffer under the heat.
Falcons trying to move up the hilltop, and Vexy, Sentinel on the top of the hill for them, finally blasted aside, and that is, I think that was a nade from, I'm not sure who that one came from, but either way, it's going to take them down, and that is Voindonkey ID with 5 elims going down in 5th place. 4 teams now remain, Falcons with 3 players alive, and 4MV with all 4 of them standing.
4MV in the weirdest positions of their lives. That's right, it's an end game. We can't believe they're here with us. They have lost a player, but a res is potential for them. But Revo from the sidelines will pick up one, and 4MV, they're falling like flies.
Rambunctious rascal that he is, Revo ruins 4MV's descent. Doc is into the circle, but now Revo has to break out. This blue zone hurts now, Blanket. Stage 8, trapped behind the McLaren, and Falcons take him down. It looks like it's going all the way, and Falcons open up with the first chicken dinner.
A huge win, and they're still eating good coming into PMGC 2024.